There's some very weird things about my life. And I don't always think like most people. As a matter of fact, most of the time, I don't think like the majority of people. My ancestry is weird. For instance, my direct great-grandfather on my grandma's side was John Smith from Jamestown. And I married my son's father, whose direct grandmother was Pocahontas. Interesting, right? And the bloodline that comes down through my family is very wealthy and rich and royal. Who would ever know? Honest to God, I never wanted to look up my ancestry because I just knew that we were the prisoners sent over here to pay dues or something. And it turns out that at least 6 of my ancestors were in Jamestown, and I've tracked them to that. Weird, huh? And another thing, all my life I've been an investigator. Really. I was just thinking how many times I've uncovered big stuff. First, it started with my first husband and figuring out where he went, and he married someone else, and I couldn't find him, but I kind of tricked the Red Cross into helping me, and I found him. And he committed bigamy, which is a long story in itself, but the way I found out was quite unique. And then I worked for a man, and there was a contract on his life. And I found the FBI folder and had to hide it. And then I uncovered this cocaine deal back in the 80s with cemetery vaults. And then I worked for a doctor, and I uncovered the fact that his son-in-law was stealing and heavily invested in cocaine. And I had to tell him, and that didn't turn out good. And on and on and on. And then I figured out the big C deal and the big U deal before it all happened. And I figured out a lot of stuff because I'm curious. Lots of things I found. And I have a lot of stuff I could tell on people. Big stuff, not little stuff, big stuff. I'm talking about big attorney stuff. And I might one day. But my life's been strange. It has been so synchronistic. Every single thing I do leads to the next step. And I've always known that this day would come. And people have made professions over me that have always come true. And I've experienced so many miracles that just don't make sense. Like Tommy Tyson, a very famous pastor back in the 90s, came to see me, and when I walked in the door, we all fell to the floor and didn't get up for hours or ever talk. And he left. And we all remember it as supernatural. Lots of things like that. But here I am, and I'm still trying to figure things out. And I am functioning smarter than ever, but I'm off all that funky antidepressant crapola. And and I was the last person. 6 people committed suicide, and I was the last one to talk to each one of them. I've had some weird things. I testified for the Outlaw Motorcycle Club. I liked them. I believed in them. I knew who they were. They were ex-Vietnam people that were sick and tired of the BS. So was I, even when I was married to a John Birch coordinator. I got the picture then, but I had no idea how bad it was. I've had a weird life, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. So stay tuned, because I spent 40 years in the cemetery industry too, and I've got quite a few funny stories that might get you kind of hyped up about some things. I always said, I'm the last one to let you down.